So I've spent a long time with the iPhone 15 Pro Max camera system, and in this video we'll be breaking down in depth all the new features of this camera and how good it actually is. Spoiler, ProRes video shocked me with how great that ended up being. The new 5x telephoto is a lot better than you think, and Apple is so close to making this the perfect pro smartphone camera, but they keep falling short in some key areas that I just wish they'd fix. But let's start with the first major change, which is this transition to 7 different pro lenses in the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max. We're getting a macro, 13mm, 24mm, 28mm, 35mm, 48mm, and 120mm. Oh my goodness, that is a mouthful. This stirred up some mixed reactions in the tech community, as people are saying Apple can't really call these different lenses and it's just digital zoom. I can tell you from my testing, it's a lot better than digital zoom. These new focal lengths at 28mm and 35mm come out in 24 megapixels and in great optical quality. So it's quite sharp and makes these focal lengths really useful for everyday shooting, and you're still getting legitimate lens compression and having your subject and background appear slightly larger, which can aid in giving you creative choice with how you want to compose your photos. What's really cool as well is you can hop into the camera settings and set your default 1x to be either 24, 28, or 35mm if you prefer to shoot in that focal length. Apple also made a change to the default resolution of all photos on iPhone 15 Pros being 24 megapixels instead of 12, which is what we've had in previous iPhones for years. So in theory, we should be getting a lot more detail and sharper images across the board, and I think we are. I really like the standard images that are coming out of this iPhone. It's way more useful when you're actually zooming into these images, as you won't lose out on as much detail when you're reframing your compositions. But if you're just taking these images at 1x and not adjusting crop, I don't think many people will actually be able to see the difference between a 24 and a 12 megapixel image. Something that is underrated though is we do get live photos under the new 24 megapixel default option, which can really come in handy, and it's just nice to have to be able to relive the memory of that specific moment in the photo. We still don't get live photos for when you turn on the 48 megapixel option, which is a real shame, and I hope Apple finds a way to make this work, as I always shoot in 48 megapixel ProRes, so it's really just disappointing that I can't make use of live photos because I want to use more pro features. But something that is not a shame is this incredible photography, filmmaking, do-it-all tool from channel partner Moft, known as their Snap Phone Tripod Stand. It is the world's smallest, quickest, and most versatile tripod stand I've ever used. It 100% will be with me everywhere I go with the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and here's why. It unfolds so quickly within seconds to get your phone into a floating position, and it has a versatile angle adjustment, so I can adjust it to many different angles that suit specific situations. So for example, when I'm eating breakfast, I love the theater angle to kick back and relax to enjoy some content, and with a quick rotation, I can go into a browsing angle while I surf through the web. And this angle also works great for video calls with my friends, as it's super easy to unfold and prop up the phone into the perfect position. The possibilities are endless with this, to be honest. I can also use it to film myself vertically for my content creation, or horizontally depending on what platform I'm uploading to. The coolest part for me by far is using this in vlogging mode. You literally have a vlogging tripod that is the size of your palm, and it works perfectly as a selfie grip for capturing all kinds of moments in my life. I can use it with a front-facing camera, or I can rotate the hinge on the tripod the other way and make use of the rear-facing camera for higher quality vlogs. The Snap Phone Tripod Stand is made with Moft's Movas E-Series vegan leather, so you'll be getting a balanced combination of softness, durability, and sustainability that is non-toxic and environment friendly. I absolutely love what Moft created here, and it will make a pretty big difference in my flexibility and how I use my iPhone in the months to come. So if you are interested in their Snap Phone Tripod Stand, do not wait. Click the link in the description down below to order yours today. Huge shout out to Moft for teaming up with me on this portion of the video. As for the 48 megapixel sensor, that's still the highest resolution image you can shoot on the iPhone 15 Pro Max on the main lens at 1x 24mm, and it continues to knock it out of the park in terms of image quality. The iPhone is my favorite camera for photos, and this is exactly why. Apple did also add a new 48 megapixel HEIF option as well in the settings, which allows you to shoot in 48 megapixels while saving on file size. It works quite well. The image files are vastly different in size from my testing, and the difference in image quality between the Pro Raw Max and HEIF Max are not that obvious at first glance. A welcome change this year for photos on iPhone has to do with the new portrait mode feature baked into the main photo mode. So I can take a regular photo, capture the depth information of those photos and have the ability to add portrait after the fact. It actually works really well from my testing. I think it's going to save me a lot of debate on whether I want to do a portrait shot or a regular photo, as we now get both. And I just love messing around with the focus. You can make it focus on the cat in this image, or I can change the focus to me and not my cat. It's really fun to play with, and there's lots of creative possibilities here. The only thing that I was annoyed about by this feature is that this is actually not possible when you're shooting in 48 megapixels, or if you turn on any kind of raw feature in the camera app. I would love Apple to just find a way to give us the portrait option in these raw camera modes, as I mean, I would love to be able to add in some, baked in bokeh effect into my higher resolution images. As for the 5x telephoto, I'm a huge fan of it. I was surprised by actually how much I really liked this focal length at 120 millimeters. It is just so much more useful than 3x in my opinion for everyday shooting. You just get better framing options that I find more flattering than 3x, and I love how compressed portraits look when you take pictures of people on 5x. I can tell you with confidence that I don't miss 3x at all. I find the 2x to be close enough in terms of giving me that middle of the row focal length for images on my iPhone. And I mean, you can always zoom into 3x on the Pro Max if you really want that, but I would recommend always shooting your images in the optical quality focal lengths available for the best looking shot. So the ultra wide camera is supposed to be better this year as well. They added a new anti-reflective coating, and with improvements to Smart HDR, we should be seeing better looking photos. And they came out okay. I still wish there was more here. This lens continues to feel less than from the main lens, so I typically avoid ultra-wide shots if possible from my own personal shooting experience. Apple also said that they improved the low-light capabilities of the ultra-wide camera specifically in action mode at night, thanks to using the A17 Pro chip. Okay, sure. So I took a ton of videos at night in ProRes LOG on the ultra-wide sensor in action mode, so you can see for yourselves how the videos turned out. They look okay, but I don't think there was enough done here to really turn the tide for me personally on making the ultra-wide camera a more useful tool for my professional life. I have more to say about videos on iPhone on the other lenses, and I'll get to that in a second, but I do want to continue my thoughts on night mode and low light performance across the board for the entire camera system. Apple added the photonic engine to night mode, so it should allow us to take better looking images of people in low light situations now. And as you can see from these images, they actually came out pretty good, but again, image quality and preferences can be subjective, so it does ultimately come down to you if you find these images flattering enough for your own personal library of photos. Okay, so the number one thing that I'm most excited about with the iPhone 15 Pro Max is the new video capabilities, specifically ProRes LOG video. So Apple has gotten this phone to be ACES certified, which makes it the first smartphone to support a global standard for color workflows, which in normal speaking human terms essentially means that it's a lot easier for people to mix iPhone footage in their videos and productions with other, regular cameras and real cameras so that everything is uniform and in the same color space. And yeah, it works really well, and you can see from these videos just rolling across as I'm speaking, the iPhone 15 Pro Max does an incredible job at fooling me into thinking that this was shot on a regular mirrorless camera. It is astounding how good phone footage is getting these days. You just get so much more dynamic range on your footage, and it gives you more creative control to go after that cinematic look that we crave in all of our footage. You can also record up to 60 FPS if you have an external drive that has at least 220 megabytes per second write speeds and 4.5 watts of power, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows though with this video camera system. The camera app is in desperate need of an overhaul in my opinion. I can't make quick changes to whether I want ProRes LOG or ProRes SDR or HDR. I have to go deep into the settings to make these changes. I still can't control shutter speed, ISO, white balance, none of the basic necessities that professionals use all the time for video on a regular camera. Yes, there are third-party options out there that we could make use of, but why can't Apple just add this in themselves? I would just love if they did that. Honestly, I think they are going to, and I have no doubt in my mind that it's coming, but typically with Apple, they want to do things the Apple way. So that means tons of R&D and refinements until they can present new features like these in the best way possible. So for now, we have to be stuck with the third-party options, which is okay, I guess. So yeah, that's my take on the iPhone 15 Pro Max camera system. It is the best camera system Apple has ever put in an iPhone, which should be no surprise, but seriously, they made a lot of good strides here that actually cater to professionals this time. I just hope in the 16 Pro and beyond, they take even bigger steps towards giving us pros more control on how we shoot our photos and videos. And one last thing, I did drop a brand new wallpaper pack called Euphoria, which features 28K wallpapers that look beautiful on iPhones, iPads, and MacBooks. And I have a special discount code right now, which is buy one, get one. You can get the Euphoria pack plus either my Winter Wonderland or my Symmetry wallpaper pack free of charge. All the links and the discount code will be in the description down below. Comment hashtag I made it if you did finish this video, and I'll talk to all of you guys in the next one. Peace.